Blog Talk Radio.
Hey there! Welcome to Big Blend Radio with your hosts, Lisa and Nancy, editors of BigBlendMagazine.com.
Well, happy Music Monday, everybody. And the first day of June in 2020, you're listening to Big Blend Radio with your hosts, Nancy and Lisa. We are the crazy mother-daughter travel team and publishers of Big Blend Radio and TV magazine. That's our variety publication. It covers music, art, food, wine, travel, history, nature, business, wellness, health, happiness, all that good stuff. It's the blend.
It's a blend.
Yeah, and then we also publish Parks and Travel magazine that covers, obviously, parks and travel as well as our adventures on our Love Your Parks tour, where we travel across the country, documenting different parks, all parks, from national parks to community parks, and also the destinations, and share the stories of the different communities across the country. And today we are airing live once again from Florence, the antique capital of Colorado. We're in the southwest corner near Pueblo, south of Denver, and all the drama that's going on right now in the world. But it's the very first place that struck oil in Colorado. And, of course, antiques. And we've got all kinds of parks like the Royal Gorge out here. We're not far from Great Sand Dunes National Park and Preserve. It's a beautiful, beautiful area. So we're glad to be back here and very excited about our featured guest today. Nancy, this music is incredible.
I can't wait to hear it.
And I think this is the thing. There's craziness going on in the world. We were talking about yesterday. Tough times, sad times. But I do believe that music is the glue that binds us all together. Music and going outside in nature, and art, obviously, too. Humanity, people connecting. And our guest today, his new album is coming out at the end of the month, and it's called Invisible. And some of the songs I really believe resonate with today's times, especially like now. It's critical. Thinking about where are we in the world, who are we, where we're going to go forward, and looking at our life purpose. And when we think about what's going on, we also have to think about our country's purpose, our friends and family, our community purpose. So very excited to have acclaimed drummer, multi-instrumentalist, vocalist, composer, just an insanely talented man, Nick-D-Virgilio, join us. I hope I said his name right. I've been practicing all day, but now it's wine time, so you know what happens. But his second solo album is coming out at the end of the month. It's called Invisible. It's got members of Dream Theater, King Crimson, Supertramp, Cheap Trick, the Flower Kings. I mean, you name it, they're on there. And it's very interesting about how he even recorded it between Abbey-Road and also the Sweetwater Studios in Indiana, so between London and Indiana. So I'm excited to chat with him about that. But before we bring him on, take a listen to the first single from the album. It's called Where's the Passion? And also, we want to give a shout out to the National Parks Arts Foundation, who is sponsoring today's show. Check them out. Artists, musicians, writers, poets, dancers. If you're in the arts, they do these amazing programs where you can stay in a national park for a month and create and do an event. So it's very cool. So check them out at nationalparksartsfoundation.org. But here it is. Where's the Passion? Well, way to make an epic statement, everybody. That
wow.
is Where's the Passion? It is the first single from the new solo album, the second full solo album from Nick-D-Virgilio, and he is here with us today on Big Blend Radio to talk about the new album. It's called Invisible. It is out June 26th, I believe, is when it comes out. But you can go to Nick's website, nick-dvirgilio.com, and we're super excited to have him here on the show. Nick, seriously, I'm going to go run outside. I'm going to dance. I always get like this with music like that, and sometimes clothes get off. I don't know. But I'm like, dude, it's one of those things. It's like
you're going to take your clothes off?
Yeah.
You're going to run around with your clothes off going, where's your passion?
I don't know. Yeah, well, you know, I'm looking out at cows in a beautiful green meadow right now going, I want to run with the cows.
I know, aren't they cool?
But Nick,
well, the bull's cool.
Well, all right.
Welcome. I know. Welcome. And what an amazing
you pronounced my
album.
name perfectly, by the way.
I did.
Oh,
I practiced all day, and then I had a sip of wine and went, uh-oh.
No, it's all good.
You know, Invisible. I said at the beginning of the show that I feel like this is resonant, like, for right now. I think, you know, there's so many people that are kind of reflecting on their life, and I feel like this is one of those albums. It's retrospective, maybe depending on who you are listening to it. Everyone's got a different take on music, but I feel like it's kind of a very soul-searching album and like come to your own personal moment.
I like it.
Well, yeah, you're describing it right, and I certainly didn't write it to come out at this time or plan. You know, with all this stuff that's going on, that wasn't my intention. But it sure, you know, you're not the only person that has said that, and that's you know, that's if that gives people some positivity in this crazy time, then that's fantastic. But you're right. I mean, the record is about everybody. I mean, the moral of the story for me about the whole record is that we all have purpose, no matter how small that is. And I think a lot of people don't realize that, and they, I don't know, they don't see the small stuff. You know, they think it's always about, even if they achieve little tiny things, that can mean so much to a bunch of other people surrounding. You know, the littlest thing can mean so much to other people that you're surrounded by. And,
absolutely.
And that could be a huge thing in the whole grand scheme of life. You know, the little things can mean a lot. So, and in but we all have a meaning in this world. So that's sort of what I was trying to get at.
Yeah. And I think also in the music world too, you know, there's the big names, and you've played with a lot of them. You've played in Genesis, Tears for Fears, and, you know, let's go on with your list of your life, and, you know, your career is incredible. But I also find that a lot of times we interview a lot of session musicians and musicians that there wouldn't be those albums and those epic concerts without those musicians or those roadies or the venues. And I feel like right now we really have to look at what's going on for the music career, the career for musicians, but all the people, the bus drivers. I mean, it's like those people are forgotten a lot of times, I think, in music.
Oh, sure, man. And, you know, it takes more than a village to put on some shows, for sure. Even the smallest stuff, the people behind the scenes do such amazing work. I mean, I've known some great people, and you really can't – you get really depend on them big time for your little hour and a half or 2 hours on the stage. They make a huge difference. And, yeah, so hats off to all those people. And, you know, some of those people are out of work now, and, like, it just sucks.
It does suck. This whole situation sucks. But I feel like, I know tomorrow's like the blackout, you know, the music industry is doing a blackout, which I think is great. But I also feel like the music industry right now, it's like, okay, we can't perform it. And when you listen to your album, man, I want to see that in like a theater with the full orchestra. Like Nancy's always talking about rock operas, right? She's always like trying to, and I know when you heard his album, you're like, I want him in there. You know, so it's kind of this, I really want to see this live. Are you going to go on tour like next year or later this year with it?
We're talking about trying to get some stuff together for sure. I don't want to make go to all this trouble and not perform it. So nothing's on the books yet, of course. You know, I mean, it's really the beginning stages because a bunch of stuff that I had planned for this year, quite a bit of it all got canceled and some postponed. So we have to see what happens with those things, and then see if I can't work around those other things. Yeah.
Yeah. So the album,
but yes, I mean, to answer your question, for sure want to make it play it live. Definitely.
Oh yeah, but how do you do that? Do you like get a whole? I mean, just listening to "Where's the Passion"? That's epic. Do you have like?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'd have
how
to,
do you do
I'd
that?
have to cut some corners. We'd have to cut some corners, of course, but I mean, it could still sound as big. I mean, like the orchestra, we'd put it to tracks and be linked to a computer or something. But I'd want to have that sound. Just like certain things, there's only so many hands you could put on stage, and book will only go so far, of course. So probably for the first round of shows, it would be just a small band, and then the rest would have to be on computer or something like that, and we would sync to it and things like that. But, that's no big deal. As long as we can entertain and get the story across and get the music across, that'd be fine.
Yeah.
I'd rather do that, play to tracks and have the orchestra sound, the string stuff coming from a computer, than have to like rearrange the music without it. I think, at least for the initial shows, I would go for it like that, and then maybe down the line arrange it a different way. But that's my initial thought.
But it's also really beautiful. You did the acoustic video up on your Facebook, and everyone also go to YouTube and keep up with Nick there, because you've got the lyric track for "Where's the Passion" up there right now, and on your homepage of your website. And people, you can pre-order and get the album, like get into it, because you got all kinds of different digital packs and CDs and all kinds of cool things. But you stripped it down and did a cool acoustic version, sitting and playing guitar. And your hair looks different, by the way. I had to giggle on your Facebook page.
That was coronavirus.
Something about
hair.
Mary hairdo. I'm just saying.
Yeah, my hair. That was pre. I just got my hair cut a couple of days ago. Finally, after all this lockdown crap.
Dude,
so
I'm jealous.
Totally. No, all these songs will work in an acoustic fashion. I mean, I wrote almost every one of them on guitar. Maybe with a few exceptions from the record. Almost all of them can work just playing acoustically. And I could probably work out the other ones that are a little more crazy in an acoustic version too. But so that's doable for sure. But I'd love to have the full production if possible.
Yeah, because it's epic. I know you've played with Neil Morse, and he was on our show, I'm going to say before we went back on the road, about a year and a half, 2 years ago. And he's such a Mr. Positivity too, and I felt like that connection between you on this album too, like this positive influence on the world and soul searching, making you think. And I thought he was really cool, and he has that epic sound too. So how did you hook up with him?
Well, we started the band Spock's Beard together back in 1990. So I've known Neil for a very, very long time. I met him in L.A. in 1989, I think it was, at a blues jam, and then he asked me to, with him and his brother Alan, to start this band Spock's Beard. And so we were in a band together for 10 years, and we've been friends ever since.
Wow, this is cool. Because Nancy and I sat down, and I'm gonna be honest. The first song that I knew about you was Dave Kersner's compilation album Breakdown. With I know it's My Old Friend. I call it Hello, My Old Friend song, which is one of my favorite songs. And I was like, dude, listen to this, man. So it's really cool to hear. But Spock's Beard, we watched, Nancy and I sat and watched your Snow medley, and I was posting it on with some friends and stuff. I'm like, you're like, it's interesting going, here's the guitar, the acoustic guitar, and all these instruments you play and your vocals, but watching you drum, you kind of remind me a little bit of Ringo, where Ringo's a loose drummer, but he's on point. And I'm like, you are so versatile in your music, but like laid back, having fun. But dude, if that, I'd be like, I don't know, I'd be sweating. Like, that's amazing what you did with that. Like, seriously. Like,
thank you.
How do you do that? I need a lesson.
It's kind of like baking a cake. Like you're doing the ingredients and you're reading the book and you go, oh yeah, I'll just throw that in and see what happens. It's kind of like that.
I feel like watching you drum that you could sit there and just take a sip of wine and nobody, it's just part of it. It's just so fluid. It's like, whatever.
Well, so many drummers, I guess the only thing, thank you. I guess thank you for all that. So many drummers look like it's really hard.
Yeah.
And drumming is hard, but I've always
Yeah.
just tried to make it so I don't make too many like faces like I'm, lifting weights or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like I'm gonna
Yeah.
die doing this. Like, but it's like, and then having those huge kits. So it's interesting with what you're doing now because I know you also work with Sweetwater Studios where you are in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And by the way, I love
Yes.
the name Sweetwater because are they naming it
Mm.
after the band, the original band, like Sweetwater
No,
Band?
no. Our owner Chuck named it that. I forget the reason why, but it's been around for a long time. I don't think it had anything to do with the band. No.
Oh, okay. But like you're
Yeah.
you're like playing all these cool drum kits because your drum kits are pretty insane. Like I wouldn't know which one to do with what now, but like they're insane.
Yeah, I get very spoiled by having this job at Sweetwater for sure. That's the
Hmm.
reason this whole record came together, and the way it came together the way it did was because of the job at Sweetwater and my position there, along with my friend and co-producer Mark Hornsby. It's just sort of tied this whole thing together, and that's why the record sort of got the life that it has.
Hmm. I love this album, and I love that you've got like 14 tracks on there. I didn't count them all up, but it's like a full album. And I know we're gonna play a track from one of your EP's pieces, and then going into this, has it been like 20 years since you've done an album, a solo album?
Yeah, well, I've been asked this question a few times lately. Why has it taken so long? Well, I've been in bands all of these years, right? I've always been a band guy, and as much as I've always wanted to do the solo thing, the bands were taking precedence and a lot of time and family and all of that kind of stuff. And the solo thing sort of took a little bit of a back seat for a long time until I got the Cirque du Soleil job where I had a lot of time on my hands to write more music. And to make a long story short, I just feel like it's taken this much time to really find my voice. I feel really confident with the music I write and the sound of my voice and those kinds of things. You doubt as a songwriter, it's really easy to doubt your songs and compare your stuff to everybody else and the stuff you really like and your favorites and stuff. And I'm way beyond that now. And I think that just came with age and maturity as a musician. And I just do what I do, and I don't really care what anybody else thinks. I mean, I think I'm at a high enough level to where it's good enough. And if people like it, that's great. If they don't, that's fine too. I just think I looked at it differently a long time ago, and now, it just took me this long to get here, and that's cool. I'm just going to go for it now, and I got plans to release a lot more of my own music in the future too.
Oh,
so I think it just took me this long to get here for some reason.
But it's really true because as a painter, you go and do an art show. When you first start out, it's like every single thing somebody says kills you. And if somebody's nice, then you want to cry. You could, oh my God, thank you. And then eventually you get to the point with like it or leave it, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You. This is how I do it, and you can't expect everybody to like it. Yeah.
Well, and you realize too that everybody, no matter the biggest superstar down to the newbie, all really feels the same way.
Yeah.
Is my stuff good enough? Oh, is this a cool enough? That kind of thing. And you got at some point you got to just throw it out there and everything else be damned and go for it and see what happens. Yeah.
I think you have to go through the experiences. Yeah, you have to go through those experiences and kind of you don't earn a thick-in without having experience. You're just not born with it. You have to go through it. And being the drummer for Cirque du Soleil, that has got to be, like, to me, challenging because it's not just the band scenario. Now you've got the performers as well. Like, that's a whole other deal doing that.
Totally. It was a new experience for sure in that situation and playing 10 shows a week. And it was, it was an amazing experience for me and my family. We got to tour the world all together as a family and
really
cool.
Hang out with people from 19 countries, and there was 160 people touring together, and got to live overseas and all kinds of stuff. So it was a great experience.
Awesome.
So you understand how we are. Like, we're all whirlwinding around the world, like the country. Yeah. We've lived in different countries too, but it's like it's this whirlwind. But those experiences really mean something.
Cool.
How do your kids, how did they connect with your music and the experiences from traveling and being part of that?
I think they learned a lot from the experiences. I mean, they were young. We started and they were 10 and 12 when we first started, and then so they got to kind of. I thought it was sort of like prime young kid time because you're old enough to know what's going on, but you're still young and kind of letting it all sink in, and they got to see a lot of the world that a lot of kids I don't think get that opportunity to do, and to hang out with people from all these different languages, learning different languages and hanging out with kids from Eastern Europe and Mongolia and all kinds of stuff, and I think it got them to realize that people are people no matter where they're from, and just see how life is outside of their hometown. They were born and raised in L.A. and we had never left, until we left, and all of a sudden we were living in Montreal, Canada, and going to school up there was very foreign at the beginning, and it was a little bit hard. But then once we got into it, it turned out great. And by the time we were done, the kids definitely were ready to get off the road, which is cool. I think I was too. But it was 5 years at that point. So, but I think it was enough time to let them see, to experience other people and other cultures, and learn a lot, and kind of hopefully take that into their adulthood.
Lisa, you can speak to that.
Yeah, I grew up on the road pretty much in South Africa, Kenya, England, here a little bit, and it's like it makes you appreciate different. It really opens your eyes bigger, and and the music, that was the coolest thing for me. It was growing up in Africa. It was like you can't. I mean, that's just magic, It's so real and authentic, and that's it. And it's a way of life. Whereas, it's dancing, and you can stick your butt out and be whatever, and it's not like what dress are you wearing? Are you obeying society laws? As a kid, you're just like, who cares? So it's kind of this true living that I experienced. Yeah. And I think
freedom.
there's a lot more freedom, and I think going and traveling as a kid, that's what taught me more than school did. Actually, I went to. We still can't figure it out, 15 or 16 schools. And it taught me stuff.
Yeah.
I learned stuff. But did it, for you traveling so much and being in so many different experiences and different bands, do you think that helped you write Invisible from different people's perspectives, not just your own? Because maybe many people may think this is like, hey, Nick, you're going through a midlife crisis album, but it's not. It's when you listen to the whole thing, it's about it coming through something and realizing your worth and your values. You have that, I think we go through that in life where we start to really realize who we are. There's that coming of age moment. And you sometimes get it, I think we get it like maybe in our late 20s, 30s, and then 50s, 60s. You know what I mean? We have these cycles of it. But did traveling and meeting different people and working with people help you with the album?
For sure. Yeah, I mean, again, it made me, I've been traveling, I'm blessed. I've been traveling over to Europe and other places quite a bit since the mid-90s. That's when I really started moving around. And again, it just made me know, listen, we're all humans, especially in this day and age with all this craziness going on where people, and just what's happening right now. We're all want the same thing, just some to get through life day to day and with some dignity and feed your family and all these things that people take for granted. And then, but really, and I'm not kidding when I say this, that's what everybody wants. Doesn't matter if you're in Romania or Poland or Japan Brazil or the States, I mean, that's one of the biggest things. No matter where I go, you talk to people. They're just people, and dealing with their own problems and stuff like that, and their own day-to-day life. And it's really, we have a lot in common with everybody.
Absolutely.
And,
I love in the album how you. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say how you go through this journey. This it's a storytelling album, to me, the way I listen to it. And, I get in trouble because I have my opinions on music, but it's just, it's what I interpret.
I mean, you're right in the way you're looking at it.
yeah, I'm just kind of like there's a point where you go into the snake oil salesman. It's like, and then going from money and doing the cover of money. That's what I want. Like hearing that, you remember the old school rock and roll, like just dan dan dan, and the way you backed off and just did this. It's almost like you're at that. We've all been there. Like, damn it, are we going to make it through? Do I really? I'm going to just live on bread and water for that moment. How am I going to do it? And you don't. It's like if you want money, it's almost in this country. I feel it's like if you're that. Well, I don't know. I shouldn't say in this country, but it's almost like
to
negative.
Every country.
It's kind of, and yet at the same time, so many people are going through that strife for that, and yet you want to do your passion, and maybe you do have to be the snake oil salesman to survive. But here's who you are. I mean, I love the fact that you put "Where's the Passion" as the first single out there because I feel like that's the key of the album. But it's this whole.
It is. That's the centerpiece of the whole thing.
Yeah.
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 You can play it safe, or you can follow your passion. So when I first started out, I played it safe, and I went and worked for an insurance company till I got supremely bored. Then I went, okay, enough of that,
Right.
And then you just unshackle and go to Africa or do something really crazy. That's your choices. I mean, I could still be working at the same insurance company. Oh,
yeah,
God.
you wouldn't be happy. I know, but the whole album to me, it is one of those. That's what I'm so happy about is that you can listen to the album from start to finish and you have this entire story. I love it when we get that because it's kind of gone into this world of singles and I get it, but I don't. I really like the album. I like to hear the whole story and this is like a play. And I feel like you can really identify with an individual going through the series and going through the decisions and pulling themselves together, going, hey, I'm, writing their goal list or their vision board or the game plan on how I'm going to break through this to be happy. And I don't think many people have done an album that way. You know what I mean? It's like singles but I've never really heard an album like this with that. I think I'd like to get it into a lot of younger people's hands too to help them move forward.
Yeah,
and to find this.
The music business is the way it is, and a lot of people are trying to achieve in that model. For me, I've been I hadn't done a record in so long. I wanted to make it as possible, and I've been thinking about this whole thing for such a long time that I had to kind of just go for it and see it through all the way to the end in its entirety, and then maybe the next record won't be so story. It might just be a collection of songs. I don't know, but for now, this one I needed to do this.
It's strong. It's really, really strong and good, and I feel like people are going to resonate and feel happy.
Is awesome.
I know
it's just perfect.
It's just the way it happens, right? So recording this, you did it in Indiana and at Abbey Road, London. I mean, it's like, hello, I want to walk over that pedestrian crossing. Thank you.
Yeah.
So tell us about that and who's on the album because you really do have quite the stable of musicians and awesomeness doing this whole album.
Well, thank you. Well, again, the whole thing came to being through my job at Sweetwater. So I'm sort of like in a nutshell, I'm sort of the face of drums for Sweetwater. So I do a lot of web content and I review drum kits and stuff like this. And in that job, I have gotten to know all of the manufacturers in these companies who build all the gear, right, from cymbals and heads and sticks and everything.
Cool.
And so I've got these great relationships with all these people. And then I'm also the house drummer for our studios at Sweetwater. And Mark Hornsby, who is the co-producer and mixed the record, an old friend of mine, we made music together for years and years. I played him some of the demos. He had not heard any of this music, and he goes, "Man, you gotta do something with this stuff. There's some good things here." And I go, "Okay, cool." So then it came up to the time to go to the NAMM show. I don't know if you know what the NAMM show is, but every year in Los Angeles, it's the big, huge convention for all the music gear manufacturers.
Yep.
And he goes, and let me take one step back. At Sweetwater, we do a ton of workshops and master classes involving the gear manufacturers. We do that all the time there. And we started thinking about this, and Mark goes, well, why don't we get together or at least ask
if all of the drum manufacturers would like to get together and play in the same sandbox and get involved in this record to where it's like half education about recording drums and it's half what works to fit the song. Because when you're a session musician, you're talking about a lot of session musicians you talk to, you know, even though you might be endorsed by a certain brand, when you go to make a record, you might not use only that brand to make the record. I mean, cameras aren't all the time videotaping you do this stuff. You might use a snare drum from this company and a drum, a kick drum from that company.
Right.
Just whatever fits the song. You're there to create the best sound for the song. And that's what all of us do. Same for guitar players and bass players and all that kind of stuff. So that was the goal. It's like, what do you use? What if you had the candy store, the Disneyland of drums, which is Sweetwater, what would you pick for your song? So we went to the NAMM show and we talked to all of the drum manufacturers, and nearly all of them said, yes, let's get involved, because Sweetwater is huge in the drum business now, and they all want to be part of that kind of thing that Sweetwater has to offer, which is an amazing thing. So I'm getting to the end of the story, I promise.
No, you're good.
So they all
This is
said
awesome.
yes. So then that gave us the opportunity to record the record in the fashion we did. And Mark had been going back and forth to Abbey Road for different projects and had a good relationship going on there. And also, we had been getting together with this magazine called Prague in the UK and supporting their awards, the Prague Awards, because I'm also in a band called Big Big Train.
Yeah.
And, we've been doing a bunch of recording at Sweetwater for Big Big Train. So there was all these tie-ins to get us over to the UK. And then finally, last but not least, is this Danish microphone manufacturer called DPA. So we thought, well, what if we go to Abbey Road, record some strings and brass, and then go over to Denmark, to Copenhagen, and go to the DPA factory and do a factory tour and tie all of this stuff into the making of the record. Because DPA we used only DPA microphones at Abbey Road, which they had never done before, so there was a tie-in there as well. So all in a nutshell, it's a long-winded answer, but because of Sweetwater and Mark's forethought of like how to make this crazy thing happen, that gave me the opportunity to use all these great drum kits and to afford to go to Abbey Road and record there as well.
Well,
very
holy
smart.
cow, I love
very
this.
Smart. I
know this is kind of like Nancy and I think like this too. We're kind of weird that way. It's like use what you have and what you have. You've got to look at what's around you. And I'm not talking of opportunist is such a negative word apparently, but to me it's about taking the opportunity and using it in the best way if you're keeping it positive. In South Africa, when Nancy had her magazine over there, and I grew up, under her wings as a teenager working for her magazine put on a show, and I worked that. I mean, and even it was right even at you did it for 3 years.
Yeah.
This was in Port Elizabeth, South Africa. She put on one of her clients was a music store, and you got to think this was South Africa back in the late '80s, right, and early '90s, and she had one of the computers that could do publishing stuff, and she had the mothership, and she was printing her own film for the magazine. So you have to understand, like, if there's a computer problem in Port Elizabeth on the the East Coast, well, now someone's going to have to fly in from Joburg. You don't call the Geek Squad. Like, this is where
I know, really, and they were lame.
Right.
Sorry,
dude,
but they were
her
lame.
music client was like, he's got all these distributors, all these not distributors, but all the client, like he's buying from all these people. He's like, I need to do something. And Nancy's like, well, why not have a music instrument show? So that's what she did.
So
she
cool.
booked out a hotel and put up booths and different rooms in the hotel. We had organs, keyboards, all these music manufacturers came in from around the world to demonstrate. And we were giving guitars away as people walked in through the door. I mean, it was one of these old school cool things. And that guy that had the music store was running the till. So he got all the sales running through him as the store. It was huge. That guy made millions. And we never thought in little Port Elizabeth, the 5th largest city of South Africa at that time, that would make a killing. But it was so cool. We got to meet all of the instruments. Nobody could see the instruments
Yeah.
from around the world and have people actually talk about them and learn how to use like what's a Roland versus this, and it
Mhm.
was it was like NAMM, I suppose, but on a very
Yeah, it was.
smaller level. But
Classic.
it's awesome. It's to me to get to know it. For you though, you talk about drums and like we've talked about that, but you play guitar, obviously sing, you write, multiple instruments in your life. So
Hmm.
drums was the beginning for you.
Drums was the first thing I played, drums and singing, and then
Mm.
I started playing guitar because my brother, I have an older brother, 8 years older, and I basically did everything he did.
Mm.
So he played guitar as a teenager, and so I picked up the guitar, probably around 7 or 8 years old, and dabbled with that. And he played trumpet, so I picked up the trumpet and all kinds of things like that.
Yeah.
He was a golfer, so I started playing golf.
Yeah.
Did a lot of those things.
That's how it works. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, drumming just kind of came to me. No one told me to play drums, and my father bought me a drum kit when I was 5.
Wow.
So he was my parents were very patient, and I guess they saw something, so they let, let's try it, and I've been doing it ever since.
No, that's
love this.
awesome.
I love it.
I love it
And
when I love it when parents go full in like that instead of the no and the no and the no, because they don't realize sometimes what they're killing. You know,
Sure.
I love it when
Yeah.
parents is like, "Yeah, go for it, man. Let's see how far we can take it." That's
yeah,
Totally.
Yeah.
do your kids play any instruments?
My daughter is a singer and
Awesome.
she played piano for a long time, but she plays the ukulele and a few other things. But my daughter and my son are both great singers. My son wants to go on Broadway. He's a great actor and a singer,
Oh,
and
cool.
he's kind of pursuing that. My daughter is in nursing school, but she's also a really great entertainer as well. She sings, got a great voice. So both my kids are very musical.
Cool. Very
That's
cool.
awesome. I want to talk about.
My daughter. Well, they're both singing on the record, by the way. I figured I'd mention that right now. Yeah, they're both singing background throughout the record. So
Oh, cool.
I got them involved a little bit. Yeah.
That's so
That is
cool.
fantastic. I love that.
Mm.
I love that.
Mhm.
Now, the Fringe. Let's talk about this because Nancy and I got sucked into this. We really want to see you perform live. Listen,
Yeah.
that is a cool band, and I love the video. We're going to play. You sent us a song to play, a second or two, and I love the video. It's like industrial, but like funky, quirky, cool, and
Yeah.
come on, yeah. This is. I love the Fringe. I'm a big fan of the Fringe.
Have
So
you heard the
just
whole record or just that one song?
Just that one. I haven't heard the whole record. No.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry.
So the record is out there. It's on Spotify and on iTunes and all those kinds of places. And you can buy it physically. I'm going to start selling it on my own website here
good.
soon. But it's it's a power trio with Randy McStein on guitar and Jonas Reingold on bass, both of which are all over my record. And they're two of the best musicians.
Uh-oh.
Two of my favorite musicians of all time. And it all started when I was asked to go play a drum festival in Poland a number of years ago.
Cool.
And so I went over there one time and played, and then they invited me back, which is great. Opole, Poland is the town, Opole. And I asked the guys, I go, listen, I don't want to just play by myself, play the drums by myself. Can we afford to bring a couple musicians? And Randy was a young singer-songwriter from New York State, and Jonas is in a band called the Flower Kings and Car Mechanic and a bunch of other things, and he's also Steve Hackett's bass player now.
Okay.
Genesis guitar player. They said, yes, you can bring the guys. So they came over to Poland with me, and we just played a bunch of each other's music at this festival. Well, once that was done, we decided, well, maybe we should maybe do something together as a band. And then we started writing some songs together, and then we got together at Sweetwater and made this record, The Fringe. And Randy McStein he's just unbelievably talented, amazing singer-songwriter, guitar player. He's the one playing the guitar and the solo one, Where's the Passion, the song you just played. It's him playing just all the guitars there.
Amazing.
And Jonas is on that song as well. He's the bass player on that song. Just super talented, like uber talented and super nice guys. And I think we make a great team together. So we made this one record. And with everybody else's schedules and stuff like that, it's been hard to get back to do another one, but we're committed to do a second record, and we're going to start recording this July remotely because we can't really get together. So, but we got plans to make a second Fringe record.
Awesome.
And I recommend it to anybody who doesn't know those guys. just search Randy online and Jonas, and you'll find a lot of their music. And it's a really cool project.
You guys are so tight, and it's just I love it. And so now we have to get the album. I was just like, dude, we're just watching all your stuff, and I'm like, this is so cool. Like, this is awesome. So everybody,
there's some fun videos online. There's some stuff on YouTube you can find. Like, we played a thing called Cruise to the Edge a couple of years ago. And so there's some live footage of us playing on that, and a few other spots here and there. We have done a few live gigs. But so if you want to see some stuff, but
sounds like Friday night music night, Lisa.
I know we get all sucked into. Well, I think the YouTube thing. I have words for YouTube and Facebook right now about being able. We can't even run podcasts on Facebook because of the music. I have permission, but then Facebook's like, sorry, you don't. I'm like, yes, I do. No, you can't play it. I'm like, but anyway, sorry, I won't get into my rant.
Be kind.
Fringe. I love the Fringe.
It's not in your interest to not be kind.
No, I want the whole album because this I am so in love with it. When Nancy and I were watching this, we're like, this is so cool. So here it is, second or two. What is that? The album title or what's the album?
No, the album is just called The Fringe.
Right.
The second two was the video was shot by a famed music video director named Nigel Dick. He's from the UK, and he's done, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of music videos that you've all seen, from Britney Spears to Guns N' Roses to Tears for Fears to Nickelback and everything in between. He's done a lot of work with us at Sweetwater, and he's the one that filmed that video you saw.
Awesome. Here it is, second or two. Take a listen, and we'll be back with Nick in a second.
Of a lover, based on what I could see. Didn't have time for another, no guarantee. Couldn't just wait for a minute, slow down and take a seat. Everything reaches a limit. Look at your life, feet on the ground, making your plans, running around. I say to you, nothing new, but maybe take a second or two. If you had one good reason, I would just let it go. If I had one good reason, I'd let you know. Finding the words to make you communicate. Rhyming is easy if you concentrate. Look at your life. Maybe take a second or two. We wanna stay
second or two, and that is the Fringe, and drummer Nick-D-Virgilio is with us today, and that I love that. Nick, seriously, that takes me back to high school in some ways. Kind of like
nice.
You know what I mean?
I just sent you the whole record, by the way.
Oh my God!
Thank
I'm
you.
so excited. I'm going to be jumping
Oh,
for
that's
joy.
what
Are
we're
you?
doing tonight. That's what
Seriously.
we're doing tonight.
Thank you.
Also,
I love that.
record. That same record was mixed and recorded by Mark Hornsby, who did my record, who did Invisible well.
Invisible.
So as well. So you can just tie that in together. I just thought I'd mention that.
Ah, I love that. I mean, you're invisible. You're so versatile with what you do musically. Do you? I mean, I know there's the whole prog rock thing, and to me,
But it's
I don't
African.
know. I didn't even
It's
realize
African.
prog until we started doing the radio show. Like, I didn't even think of prog rock as prog rock. I just listened to music, and now it's
Yeah.
like
Right.
this is prog rock, everybody.
But
Okay.
Don't Lisa? Don't you feel like this is down deep Africa music?
Yeah,
Like the drumming.
that was
like
really.
It's in your heartbeat.
Yeah, and then the guitar and that bass. I mean, you guys are such a cool trio, and that bass, and then the guitar is like kind of like
Well,
Jack
yeah.
White.
Wait till you hear the rest of the record, because there's some really cool magical moments on the record. It's a cool thing. I think you'll dig it.
People are going to get.
If
It's
you like
going to
that
get
too, I
loud
think
on the
you'll dig the
road.
rest.
It's going to get
Please
loud on the
do.
road. We wake up
Road trip.
towns as we drive through. It's like it's 4 a.m. Wake up, little town. Sorry, it's a terrible habit, but it is. But it's really interesting about your style of music. What would you call, like, even Invisible? Would you call that prog rock, or do you care about calling it
No.
anything? Then it's the album.
I just think, like, for Invisible, I mean, I just think Invisible's really just a rock record, but it has it has its technical proggy moments throughout. I mean, in different spots. There's some songs that are definitely not proggy at all. They're little pop and little funk and R&B and stuff, and
a little classical.
but I think overall, if you're going to put a style on it overall, I think just a rock record would be more apt than progressive rock. Progressive rock connotates, a little more, I don't know, an old school sort of vibe. There's some odd time signature stuff on the record, but there's not everywhere. I do have some mellotron. I mean, prog rock has a sound. And I think that that's where that people, use that term to describe a lot of stuff. But I call it a rock record, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I just either,
rock.
really, I just want to hear it, and I either like it or leave it. End of story. Labels and all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just love your versatility, because it's just interesting hearing all the different styles that you do. And, then I think about you doing Cirque du Soleil and all that. Have another sip of wine and say that 10 times.
Yeah, Lisa.
But to me, that is amazing. Do you, when you are at home, do you listen to a wide range? I mean, what's your record collection like?
Yeah.
Oh, it's all over the place for sure.
I bet.
It started as a kid. My brother's 8 years older, my sister's 12 years older than me. So I listened to all the music they grew up with, which was, it ran the gamut of everything. And then my my parents were from born in the 30s, so I listened to a lot of this, the 50s and 40s and 50s music from their generation. So I had a huge upbringing of all different styles of music. So, and it's the same to this day. I listen to basically everything. And it's really cool having kids who are 22 and 20 years old, because I get turned on to all kinds of stuff of today's music that I probably would never hear without them being around, turning me on to a bunch of cool stuff. So I love Wolfpack, and there's a great singer-songwriter from Texas named J.D. McPherson. I'm a huge fan of his, more Americana. And, it goes all over the place. It really does.
It's
cool.
neat. I think today's music, like when you think about the younger generation of what's coming out, I think there are, like, I know, talk about wine. The wine market has changed in regards to a younger generation are going out wine tasting. And I think it's the same thing happening with music, that they're digging into the vault and bringing it out. And I think hip-hop actually helps people bring out what was going on in the past when hip-hop used all the samples. And it's like, here, take a listen from back here, these songs. And I think that actually helped music from the past go forward. It's kind of weird, but that's my own personal little thing, that I think it helped. And I see musicians now digging into old records and bringing it forward and going, hey, have you heard this? And it's like, that's refreshing and cool to hear the
Yeah, there's
torch
a lot
being
of really cool
forward.
music out there these days. New music out there these days. I think there's a ton of it. I think it's a good time for new music if you're willing to go out there and explore and hear it. You know what I mean?
And people should, because the idea of, oh, that's not my style, you're just limiting yourself. I mean, stop it. Just go listen. I mean, it's like
listen.
a new food or, as a painter, I have to say a new color. Yay. I was taught never mix more than 3 colors together. BS. I can mix it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well,
you experiment, So just be open-minded about it.
Yeah, that's cool. It's cool.
Because then you get the best experience.
I want to ask about Big Train, like your big train. This is.
Yeah.
I heard a rumor that more is coming.
Uh-oh. Cool.
More music, for sure. So we had, Big Train. Whoever listening who doesn't know what that band is, please go search Big Train, bigbigtrain.com, all the usual places. They are. I would call Big Train progressive rock. To me, that's a quintessential English progressive rock band. If you think of old bands like Genesis and Yes and early Jethro Tull stuff, we're in that vein, and they are proud, loud and proud. They're not trying to say, oh, we're this, but we're not that. We are a prog band. That's what we do.
Okay.
And the band's getting some real life and some good success these days, and it's one of the best bands I've ever been in. Tremendous musicianship and great songs and just great people all the way around. Anyway, we were supposed to be touring the States this year, our first ever shows of the States and Canada, and also we had another tour planned for the summer in continental Europe, down to Italy and stuff. Obviously, everything got canceled.
Yeah.
So instead of recording our next record, we were planning on doing it, like early the first half of next year. We're moving it forward, so we're going to do in November. We're going to start recording for the next record.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I love this.
Yeah,
I love all this new
cool.
music coming out. This is good. I'm so glad. I'm excited because you're great, man. I'm like, I get excited every time I learn something new. It's impossible for one person to know everybody in every musician in the world, but I'm learning all the time on our shows and excited, and when I hear music like yours, I'm like, dude, this is the coolest thing. I'm going to blare it in the street at 4 a.m. Wake everybody up. You need to hear this.
I know.
Yeah.
We're going to find the smallest
Invisible,
town
again.
possible. Windows down, off it goes.
Yeah. Invisible comes out. Is it June 26th for everybody?
June 26th, yes.
Okay.
Pre-orders
So
are available now, and they can pre-order now if they want. Yeah, for sure. The next single is coming out this Friday. We're going to put another single out. The cover song,
Which
Money,
one?
That's What I Want.
Sweet.
Money. That's coming out on Friday. There's a great lyric video made by Christian Rios, the same guy who made Where's the Passion. So that'll be debuted this Friday. And so, trickling out a little bit just to kind of get people, whet their appetites for the whole record. And then soon after that, a couple weeks later, then the record will be out.
Awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So I do have to ask you this.
Uh-oh.
Playing in Phil Collins' position, how did that feel? Did you pinch yourself?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, beyond craziness. Never in my life did I think that would even be a possibility. Yeah. Well, because, a couple of people have been asking me about that lately. Listen, I mean, I'm not afraid to say, listen, Genesis, when I was a kid, Genesis was literally my favorite band. And Phil Collins was my favorite drummer. I was fully into everything he did, and all the side projects, I knew every Genesis song, literally, top to bottom, every record, all the B-sides, everything. I was fully in it. And then when I got a little bit older, obviously, I branched out and got into other stuff as well. But, when I was a kid, he was a huge influence, that band.
Yeah.
His style of drumming is a big influence on the way I play drums to this day and everything, because he was awesome. He just no doubt about it. He was killer.
Dynamic.
And,
His dynamics
for sure.
are
And
impeccable.
so when I
amazing.
got the call to go and audition, and and then actually got the okay to be on the record. I never in my wildest dreams thought that would ever happen.
But isn't that cool?
Planned on it or anything. Because that's his band.
That's
so
nature's reward. That's nature's
totally
reward.
wild,
No,
I grew up
that's
listening to
nature's
him, Peter
reward
Gabriel.
for following your path.
I mean,
That's how it works.
Yeah, exactly. Because you do have that. That's the same thing I was saying, like the Ringo Starr, but that Phil Collins has that too, where it's loose, and then there's this, I don't know. Every drummer has a signature sound, and you could be filling in for Phil Collins on an album, but you still have your signature sound, and that's important. There's just this style that you have. It's like, wow, you can be versatile, but it's still you. And I always listen to that when I listen to music is, does that musician know who they are? You know what I mean? That integrity to their, and I think it takes time to develop that, right?
Well, it's confidence.
Especially, and drums, people always think, oh, that's the gatekeeper of time. But drums, I think, play such, that in the bass, we always say it's the foundation. From our old band days, it's a foundation, but there's a signature style and sound of a drummer that I just sometimes think that when we listen to music, it's like, oh, that's the drummer keeping time, and then they're going to do a really great solo, but it goes far beyond that with what you're doing, and you definitely have that. It's awesome.
I think it started with, as far in my memory, okay, it was Gene Krupa just went off on the drums, and ages ago, I don't know if it was Lawrence Welk show or whatever, but Gene Krupa just went off, and I think he changed drumming. He changed it.
He did.
Yeah.
He was one of them for sure. He was one of the big. He was one of the big guys back in the day.
Who do you listen to for drumming? That turns you on, like, oh wow, and it inspires you.
Oh, there's countless. I mean, there's tons. Yeah, I mean, anybody from the old guys like Vinnie Colaiuta and Tony Williams and Phil Collins, John Bonham. There's lots of great drummers. To this day, Benny Greb is a German drummer. He's one of the greatest drummers of all time. Todd Zuckerman from Styx. I mean, I could go on. There's so many. There's a lot of amazing players out there.
But yeah, that's what I was saying. Do you know what I mean about people not maybe always thinking about the drummer's sound and how it adds? I think musician people do in music, like diehards. But it's interesting. That's what I thought was so cool about watching just watching you solo perform. It was like, that's amazing. And I learned a lot about drums from watching you just do solo work, that
cool. Thanks.
just gave me this whole other level of appreciation. And, Nance and I are both musicians, have had bands and had drama and had to continue with our magazine while the band was doing.
It was a choice.
Anyway, whatever. They were doing a lot more than anything. But anyway, me was there was this there's a level of learning. I don't know. It just was really cool to watch the solo parts of what you were doing. I learned stuff from it and enjoyed it. And I was like, I know that I grew up listening to drums and African drums and all of that, but there was just something really cool about watching that as just a plain listener, not thinking technically or anything, and understanding the role of a drummer in a band from you doing it solo. I don't even know how to explain it, but I'm trying. But there it is. It just was something to.
It's all good.
I know.
I appreciate it.
I want people to learn more about what the drummer does. I think it's great, and I think it helps that you play multiple instruments too, that it comes in because it's almost like a melody, right? That you're playing too, even though. Yeah.
And there's rhythm and percussion in all instruments. It's all based around rhythm. So it's all kind of tied together.
It is the key.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It is. So, if you're going to do a trio, I know you've got the Fringe, and we love the Fringe. We love the Fringe, but you could play with two people that are maybe passed on now, that you've not had the opportunity to play with. Who would they be?
Oh my gosh!
I know I suck, don't I? Have another glass of wine. It's all good.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know. Let me think about that one for a minute.
Oh, even if you wanted to play with another drummer, would you do double, triple?
Double drums.
Dude.
Double, triple.
No, I don't know. Gosh, I don't know. There's just those kinds of questions are always hard to answer because it's
like the
I like so much
challenge.
stuff. I mean, it'd be almost impossible to pick. Would I like playing with going
just
crazy with someone like Miles Davis or
Oh.
Would I want to, you know,
Yeah.
would I want to sing Led Zeppelin songs with Jimmy Page and John Bonham and John Paul Jones? I mean, I don't know.
Miles
You know,
Davis, put them in there together and see what happens.
Yeah.
That's, to
yeah,
me,
there
is
you
the
go.
coolest.
Make a soup.
Wouldn't it be cool?
Yeah,
If you
that
could
would be
just
kind of
like a chessboard, you just take all these musicians. I think, oh, I'm going to put you four together. Go for it. That'd be so
yeah,
much fun.
Yeah,
that'd be
well,
cool.
I think what's interesting about the question is, it's like, oh, you always think about, oh, these people that, you know, be cool to play with them and create this sound, but really, I don't think it works that way musically. I think it just happens. How you connect with people, it ends up being this way, and then you'll create a band from the people that you know. You know what I mean? It just doesn't.
Yeah.
It just rarely happens that you put out, hey, I need this kind of musician to do this exact thing. I've never seen it work that way. Not often. I think maybe a couple times,
Right.
but I don't know. But anyway, it's all good. So Mary Jane says we want to close with that. It has been so cool having you on the show, and we're so glad to know your music and excited about Invisible coming out again, everyone, June 26th. But you can go right now to Nick's website. It's Nick and then the letter D. I'm just going to spell it out, you know, VIRGILIO.com. Did I get it right, Nick?
You did, and I thank you because, you know, listen, on the record it says NDV, and I've tried it. You know, my last name is difficult. There's no doubt about it. There's actually an apostrophe in my name too, D''V, which has given us problems my whole life. And I figured, you know, now I'm confident in my music and all of that kind of stuff, and I'm you know, going for it. I'm just going to go out with my full name. There's other people out there in the world that have difficult last names, and they've become successful and stuff too. So I'm putting the whole thing out there.
Do it.
Yeah,
hopefully
do it.
people will learn how to
Do it.
So yeah, the
it.
website is just my first name and my whole last name. No spaces or dashes or anything like that.
Yeah, and we'll put it up on our site. It's up on the Blog Talk Radio page and everything. And go ahead,
can I just say, Ringo Starr or Mick Fleetwood? Come on.
Oh.
What, like to choose or to?
Yeah.
Who
to
would be the
compare?
better?
Yeah.
You can't compare. You can't compare those things.
You can't. You can't do it. It's mean, and they're so different. See, Mick Fleetwood gets into the whole percussive.
Their sound is part of the sound of the band they were in. You know, I'm sorry, the Beatles wouldn't be the Beatles without Ringo.
No.
You know, and Fleetwood Mac would not be the Fleetwood Mac without Mick Fleetwood playing, you know, on all those amazing songs.
No.
So their touch gave life to that particular music and that spice to that music, and that's why it is.
Good answer. That's
why it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. See, there it is, Nancy. That's it. No more wine for you. I'm kidding. So we're gonna close with Mary Jane Says. So is this a Mary Jane or the Mary Jane?
No, it's the Mary Jane. Yeah, this particular song was my sort of my rant on my love-hate relationship with Mary Jane. On how, you know, it sometimes it's the greatest thing in the world, and sometimes it just sucks you in and
can't get out.
Stupid things too. So
you
sometimes
you
can't get out. So that's what this particular song was
I think that's why they named it Mary Jane.
And so this is off of your EP. It's Pieces. When did that come out?
Right. This came out a while back in 2011. Again, my friend Mark, who's been a part of a lot of stuff that I've done. I had a bunch of tunes kind of hanging around. We were doing some other projects, and he goes, and we just decided to put out. I had like a collection of tunes that really didn't all fit together, because each song on this EP, they're all a little bit different style. I'm not sure if they all fit on the same record, but we've put out a record called Pieces. We thought, well, this is a good way to kind of get some music out, even though they might not all together as a thing. I think in the end they did, but at that time, the way we thought about it at the time, it was just, these are a collection of tunes. Let's just put out an EP, even though the songs are all a little bit different. And that's kind of where this came from.
Awesome. Well, here it is, everyone. Yeah. Mary Jane Says. Again, we want to thank the National Parks Arts Foundation for sponsoring today's show. Go to Nick's website, Nick-D-Virgilio.com. So it's D as in the letter D, VIRGILIO, and Nick-D-Virgilio.com. Go to the shop section. Go to his YouTube page and geek out for a while. It's so cool. He's also on Facebook and Instagram, Twitter, all those places, and keep up with him. We're excited. We can't wait for new music. And thank you for the Fringe. You know, we're going to be blaring some people out now. We're very excited about that.
Yeah, we're having fun tonight.
Awesome.
Yeah. Everyone keep up with our
Appreciate
shows at
that.
BigBlendRadio.com. Thank you for tuning in. Our next show is on Wednesday. We're going to be talking about the amazing food lady. She's known as the Mick Jagger of Mexican cuisine, Diana Kennedy. There's a new documentary coming out called Nothing Fancy. And so we'll have filmmaker Elizabeth Carroll on the show. We're going to be talking about our adventures in Colorado wine country. Yeah, we're still feeling it. Can you hear? I know. We travel around, go to parks. We blare music in places you shouldn't. And we drink a lot of wine.
Drink wine. You guys are speaking my language. That's awesome.
I know.
Cool.
Now, Indiana. You're in Indiana. Tell me, is there like a cool, like, what's it like? I mean, Fort Wayne.
Are there wineries?
Like, I have no clue. I know we did a show in Indiana a long time ago about artisans, and there was like the arts are alive in Indiana at some point. It was years ago, but is it cool?
It is cool. Yeah, Fort Wayne is like a big, small town. There's 400,000 people here, but it feels like a really small town.
Wow.
There's lots of there's lots of great food, lots of killer farm-to-table restaurants in here. There are some wineries around here.
Cool.
It's pretty popular, especially now that it's springtime and winter is finally left, thank goodness. Everything's in bloom. It's super green. There's a lot of cool stuff about this area that I didn't realize. I'm born and raised in Los Angeles, so I didn't quite get it.
Yeah.
And here, but yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff. Fort Wayne's a cool little small town. Lots of great music, lots of art, lots of culture, and lots of great food. It's worth checking out for sure.
All right. Well, we'll see when we get there because we are trying to head east, but you never know what happens on the road. But okay, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Since you're a musician, do you cook? I have to ask this.
For sure.
All the musicians. I knew it.
I'm Italian.
I don't know a musician.
No, I mean, food's in my DNA for sure. So I cook.
See?
My wife's a great cook. Yeah, my daughter Sophia is an amazing cook. Food is a big, huge part of our life.
See,
I don't
know
any musician who doesn't cook. Like
exactly.
It's all part of it, man. It's like feel good. Yeah, that's awesome. And listen, if you're gonna partake in the Mary Jane, you got to have good food to go with it. That's all I know.
That's right. And if you do a Friday night gig, you have to have food on Saturday morning.
Yes, or Munchie. Like, okay, don't even start me. All right, Mary Jane says, here it is. Thanks so much, Nick. You take care, and we're looking forward to new music. You take care.
Thank you so much for having me.
It was fun.
Trying, but